These are the voyages of SV Prism. The crew on board are searching for exotic landscapes and foreign cultures as they sail their 33-foot sailboat beyond horizons. We just left Altata. We started our voyage yesterday, but we had to wait for current and tide at the mouth of the bay. Because today's Friday, we definitely started yesterday on Thursday. So we waited for high slack, and then we resumed our voyage that we started yesterday about 2 o'clock today. And the weather is very nice out. I don't want to jinx it by any means because it is a Friday, but it's doing good. Spinnaker's up for the first time this season. Full main, probably 12 knots of wind, I'm guessing, 10 to 12 maybe. They're white capping, but it shouldn't be white capping, it's pretty light. We are on our way to Mazatlan. I'm really excited. I've been thinking about going to Mazatlan for the last years. This is the first real port of mainland Mexico. Olietta's in a 39-foot cow, and if you don't know what that is, it's a much faster boat than a 33-foot Hans Christian. It weighs about half as much as us. Very, very race-like bottom to her, but we are holding up. I mean, they're not running a spinnaker right now, but they're only right there, and they basically they're slowly creeping away from us. I'll be honest, but I'm okay with it. It's quite light.
Today it's been wonderful. Going across the bar in Altata was simple. We had the wind on our, in our favor, and there was no swell, and we made it out. Whoa! There's swell now though. We have been sailing for.
You guys sure look pretty in the sunset over there.
Jess and Josh are sailing just behind us. We are making our way to Mazatlan, and it's a beautiful evening. It's been a good sail. The seas are picking up a little bit, making it a little rocky and rolly, but the double ender handles it fine, and we're staying nice and dry. We need life jackets though. We are rocking and rolling though on this tack where the swell seems to be getting bigger. So once we left the Sea of Cortez and headed out for our first night passage out in the Pacific Ocean again, once the swell picked up, it took a while for my stomach to actually get used to the motion. Ocean swell just has a whole different motion to it than, the Sea of Cortez chop.
After being in the Sea of Cortez for as long as we've been, it was kind of like being on a lake. You do not have any swell. You might have chop but no swell. And it always takes a little acclimation to get used to that, like lift up and slowly lift down, and the boat kind of sways a little bit more, especially when the wind dies. In the Sea of Cortez, when the wind dies, the chop dies too, and it just becomes flat. When the wind dies in the Pacific, you still have that swell to kind of rock the boat. And so it always takes a little bit getting used to. Shannon takes a little bit longer. I kind of feel it, and I'm like, oh man, I'm back in the ocean. It's always a good feeling for me.
I'm gonna be honest, night passages are not my favorite. I love my sleep, and night watches definitely take away from my 12 hours of sleep I enjoy. Yes, the stars are beautiful, and it's very peaceful, but at the same time, it seems like everything that could go wrong goes wrong at night.
I personally love night passages. It's like a really good time for like reflection and like a little, personal time to think. You're not baking underneath the sun. I think I think if we had a bimini on our boat, I might like day passages a little bit more, but during the day, it's always like, where do we sit to stay in the shade? And at night, you don't have to worry about that. It's always nice and cool. You can bundle up. Yeah, I personally really enjoy it.
All right, well, we are right outside of Mazatlan. It was a long night sailing. The motor is running right now, but we sailed for pretty much the entire time, up to about 6:30. It was a challenging sail. It wasn't necessarily bad sail, but it was challenging. The wind changed constantly, light to breezy to light. This morning I was just kind of staring into the middle distance in the water, and there's big old fish swimming right next to the boat. Like big, like probably, 2 or 3 footers. And I'm like, holy crap, let's, and I couldn't really tell what they were. If I was better at identifying fish, I probably could, but I immediately threw in our hand line. I didn't really want to catch it. I mean, I wanted to catch something, but I don't really want to kill anything this morning, I should say. I mean, I didn't have 3 feet of my line and wham, I got hit. Almost ripped the damn thing out of my hands. Pulled on deck, it was just a skipjack or a bonita, I think it's called Pacific bonita. But really dark meat, you have to kind of do a lot to get to those, in our experience, to make them taste really good. So I threw him back. He got to live another day and go eat other little fishes, and I got to say I caught a fish on this voyage, it's always fun to say that.
When we finally saw Mazatlan in the distance, my first thought was, holy crap, that is a big town.
Approaching Mazatlan, it was a different experience because it was the first major city we had pulled into since San Diego, a year and a half prior to that. So it gives you a whole different kind of overwhelming feelings when you pull in there. You see these skyscrapers literally coming out of the ocean because they're so tall, the ocean kind of takes over, the horizon's taking over the land. So it just looks like all these little things poking out of the sea, which is kind of odd to sail up on. But yeah, once you get closer, you can smell the city and you can hear the city. It's like, okay, here comes the city. So yeah, it was mixed emotions.
As we pulled into Mazatlan, we rounded into Deer Island, where Jess and Josh had already anchored, and we were making really good time. The wind clocked with us the whole way around the island to keep the wind basically on our beam, which never happens. We were starting to maneuver between Hobies and jet skis and people, snorkeling. It was really busy. So I said, John, we should just turn on the engine to have a little bit maneuverability just in case.
And sure enough, going into Deer Island, we literally were having this conversation like, no, man, let's keep sailing. And sure enough, maybe 5 minutes into motoring, it was an immediate killer of the engine. And of course, I'm freaking out. Shannon, especially at this point of her sailing career, she was still pretty nervous about sailing in close quarters with the sails up and sailing alone. And in my brain, the sails are the most tried and true, reliable means of transportation. If you have good wind and it's relatively safe to sail, I always say sail, because short of the mast falling down, nothing can really happen to stop the boat. And the moment you take down those sails and kick on your engine, there's a lot of things that can happen to the boat all of a sudden. And what I think engines give a false sense of security to a lot of people. And so I'm definitely I'm in the camp of, if it's saleable, sail it, for sure, every single time.
And so he looked up at me, and he didn't have to say it, it was all in the face, just the, I told you so.
So I'm gonna get in the Pacific for the first time in a year, and it's not on the circumstances I really want it to be in.
Hey, at least the water's 76 degrees.
At least the water's warmer. It could be much warmer though. I was thinking 80.
It's close to it.
There we go.
When John dove in to check to see what fouled our prop, he pulled out what looked like, the mesh bags that they sell a lot of oranges in. And it literally was just but luckily it didn't hurt anything. You know, it just killed the engine and nothing was hurt. Thank God.
So Deer Island's kind of a destination for Mazatlan, the tourists of Mazatlan, not to mention the anchorage is really rolly.
So the anchorage itself is small, and when the wind changes, it is extremely uncomfortable. So we spent one night and we were like, we're getting out of here. This sucks.
It wasn't my place at all. And so I think we were there for a total of like maybe 18 hours, like, all right, we've had enough of this. We did some research and figured out the marinas were very inexpensive. And we're like, well, there's no way to provision out here. I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere, really. You're way far out. And it'd be like a 2-mile dinghy ride. It's like not in Falkor. So we need to go to the marina.
So Deer Island is located right off of the main beach of Mazatlan. There's a lot of traffic, Ponga traffic going back and forth. People just come over because it's the island, right? So it's the tourist getaway, even though you're literally looking at Mazatlan while sitting on the beach. But the Hobies pull in, kayakers pull in, and there's better snorkeling around Deer Island. So you have a lot of busy tourism going on. And it is a beautiful, beautiful area, but there is only room for probably 2 boats to anchor. The inlet to get into the Mazatlan marinas is tiny, and they do close it when the swell is up. So clearly the swell was up because we left Deer Island because the swell was annoying. So as we're lining up to go in, we are literally watching the breakwater disappear behind these sets. And Jess and Josh are behind us, and we're on the radio with them. We're like, I don't know about this. And Josh is just behind us going, remember, power's your friend. Power's your friend, but remember, as soon as you get in, there's a dredger. And we're like, oh, great. So we've already talked to the marina, and they're like, yeah, watch out for the dredger. It's kind of off to the port side. Anyways, so we time it right. We're counting the swells. We're like, okay, here we go. And we go for it, and we just give it everything Prism has, and we literally ride this swell in as it's like breaking. Jess and Josh are behind us going, how's it going? Like, are you guys okay? And sure enough, we ride this wave in, we make it in, we bank to starboard, and then we're like, crap, there's a jetty, and we bank to port. And then we're like, crap, there's the dredger, and then we go back to starboard, and then you're in. How was that, John?
Well, got to 9.6.
You guys made a look easy. How was it?
Just a heads up, it did break right in front of us, and it got down to 9.6, so whatever that means to you.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Oh, the camera is so shaky, but this is gorgeous.
Marina El Cid is really nice. It's a resort marina. You go inside, it's all marble in the bathrooms, brass fixtures, hot, unlimited hot water. It was pretty rad. There's a restaurant in the marina. It's really good. It's like buffet style, but it's like all you can eat, so you just stuff yourself. You get discounts and everything on the marina as well, which was always nice too. So I think we went out to eat once for a champagne brunch, which I think was like $12 or $13 a person. So it was like, whatever, let's just go crazy, because I think we were out of food by that point.
We are having Sunday champagne brunch. We're splurging. We are in a marina, in a resort. Marina El Cid, and we were told that they have champagne Sunday brunches, and we happen to be here on a Sunday, so why not? Because of the lack of dinghy dock and easiness to get provisions, we had to go into the marina to re-provision Prism. And once we were in the marina, it was still quite a thing, because the marina is located in a completely different area than downtown where all the grocery stores are.
We were too cheap to take a cab, so we actually walked, I think, the 4 or 5 miles to the Mega, which is their equivalent like Walmart. And yeah, we walked all the way there. It took pretty much all day. We were exhausted by the time we got there.
We're walking for about a mile now, and Yeah, it's Mazatlan's pretty darn cool. A lot of people told us just to skip it, but I'm actually really digging it. There's a lot of things to buy too. Maybe that's why cruisers don't like it. There's a lot of eye candy here that you could probably go through a couple months worth of cruising budget pretty fast. And it's not for everybody too. It's all resorts, but it's luckily it's not terribly expensive either.
Salvation.
I survived my the mega hit. When I say that, we went to Mega and we did a hit on the store, I call it. We have not been able to find ginger root since we've been here, or since we've been back at all. So that means there's been no ginger beer, which means a little more rum and cokes, I guess. So we're leaving Mega, and this is our taxi we're taking back. We've been seeing them all around town, and I'm glad we're going to be able to take one back now. We have a lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure we're going to be bottoming out the suspension. Sweet. Oh yeah, no problem.
Put this in the floorboard somewhere.
The ride back to the marina, I couldn't help it, but I had the biggest eating grin I've ever had in my life. I felt like a little kid on a roller coaster. I don't know what it was about this little buggy cab thing that was just pure joy. Rolling in with style.
Yeah.
Just make sure we don't lose this.
Yeah, just keep a hand on that green guy.
Josh, we're not gonna fit. Yeah, we will. Maybe it was like the first big city we had been in mainland Mexico, and like all of the excitement to be in this like little thing with John and Josh, and it was just like, I was just like holding on to all our groceries. You're like, is this really our life? It just doesn't get better than this. I have such a eating grin. I just think this is so fun.
Cruising's great.
Cruising is awesome.
And we all like kind of fit in there. But Shannon loved it, and you know, he drove really super fast all the way back to the marina. Got us there safely, and for I think $4 or $5, it was definitely worth it.
The pool at this marina, oh my gosh, we were like a bunch of 7-year-olds at summer camp again. We were jumping off the cliff, sliding down the slide, going in the caves. I mean, we literally were having the time of our lives.
That's pretty cool with the wind coming in.
The marina is kind of at the end of the main beach that runs along the Malecon in Mazatlan. If you call it Malecon, there's really no Malecon, it's all resorts. And all the resorts own that section of beach, so you can't really easily get into the interior once you're on the beach.
There is a huge white sand beach that lines Mazatlan, and the beach is great for walking.
There's a lot of surfers, a lot of fishermen casting in the surf.
And then when you go over up towards the hill and towards where the marina is, there is an abandoned resort.
And it's kind of a famous hike amongst us cruisers, famous. And we decided to go take a look, because I love abandoned things. And it was really cool. It was I don't know how long ago that resort closed down, but it was being totally overgrown by the, not really jungle, but by the vegetation.
We walked to the top of this hill, which overlooks Mazatlan and the beach that lines it. And it was just breathtaking. The sun was just coming up. Deer Island was looking fantastic. The hustle and bustle was just starting. It was surreal.
The hike's really cool because it gives you a vantage point of Mazatlan that you really can't get any other way. It's a great hike. It's all on, trail. It gets you out of the city just enough to like feel that you're out of the city, and gives you that great skyline. A lot of people do it at night too, which would be really pretty, I'm sure. But it's in a little sketchy area. There's a lot of homeless people. I don't know about doing it at night, but during the daytime, it was really nice.
The expectation of noise.
The abandoned resort was really interesting. I love doing photography in those resorts. It's like you walk on a set of a movie, and the normal photographer could never afford that much art direction. It's really cool. And to shoot in that, even though we were kind of moving quickly, it was really fun to shoot in, and it looked really cool.
When we climbed down and then realized that it's all gated off. So we literally had to walk and climb over a jetty wall to get back into the resort.
Despite what all the signs said, we were just gonna play dumb gringo, and if we did get caught, but we didn't. And it worked out pretty well. A sister ship of ours called SV Bella Star, they installed after getting struck by lightning in Costa Rica, and knowing that we were going south to Costa Rica, we decided it was necessary to install cutting-edge lightning protection. And SV Bella Star came up with the idea, and it was genius, that they glued little Lego man on the top of their masthead. Their science behind that was, statistically, they researched it themselves, and I believe them. Statistically, it's 100% effective of keeping lightning. No other boat with Lego men on top of their mast have ever been struck by lightning, so statistically, it's totally effective. With that same mindset, we decided to take it upon ourselves to make our own lightning protection. And while we were at Walmart, this was right when the new Star Wars was coming out, they had a lot of Star Wars figurines, and there was a scale model of the Millennium Falcon, and we thought, that is perfect. I went up the mast, and with some G10 epoxy, I epoxied that sucker up there, and to this day I can say it has been 100% effective.
Statistically, a boat with a Millennium Falcon epoxied to the top of their mast has never been struck by lightning. Once we safely made it out of the marina, we headed a little bit further south to Stone Island, which is the anchorage located just outside of Old Town Mazatlan. The marina is located in downtown Mazatlan, and Old Town Mazatlan is where you really want to be. That is where all the historic facts are, historic buildings, and just the pure beauty of Mazatlan. Coming up next time on SV Prism, Jon and I head into Old Town Mazatlan to see the really old church and spend about 2 days to upload the next video. We left the boat at 10? And it's 3:30. Gelato and slow Wi-Fi. We continue to explore until we are thoroughly lost, but luckily we find a map and get our bearings. Then it's off to one of the largest public markets we have ever visited before. Then we take the mandatory Ponga ride back to the anchorage. We are happy to see that Falcor is still there when we get back. We then go right into planning the next day's beach exploration. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, follow us on Facebook and Instagram to see the newest updates on where we are right now. The show is funded by viewers like you, so if you like the show, consider becoming a patron so we can continue making the show in the future. For more details about Prism, camera gear, and the crew, go to svprism.com. Thanks again for watching, and like always, fair winds and following seas.